Young sir, I need to sit there. You can sit on my lap. Hopefully. Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. I'm Miley. This week I am going to be doing something I was not planning on doing, but I tried it out and had so much fun doing it that I decided to make it into a video. And if the title of the video doesn't give it away, this sweatshirt does. I am going to be reverse tie-dyeing. Reverse tie-dyeing is when you use bleach to change the color of the clothing. You can then go in and use color dye to dye the sections that are bleached. On this particular sweatshirt, all I did was bleach it. That is why I wanted to make this video, so that I could try out actually tie-dyeing after I bleached. Also, I learned so much from this sweatshirt that I am excited to take what I learned and apply it to the other pieces I'm going to be reverse tie-dyeing. Speaking of the other items, let me quickly go through the items that I have. They, of course, are already covered in cat fur. I have this plain black pullover hoodie with a big old blob of cat fur. And then I have this dark navy blue t-shirt, this oversized long sleeve black t-shirt, and then another v-neck black t-shirt with these extra stringy things. Yeah. All of these items are pre-washed. That is important to do before you get started. So since these are ready to go, let's get started. Okay, jumping right into the action. This is tie-dyeing, Miley, not a football commentary. Let's slow it down, bring it down. Okay. In non-typical Miley fashion, I actually pre-planned out the folds I was going to do on each item, which was just weird. This one I called a double accordion because I can't remember the actual name of this fold. And because we jumped right into the action, I forgot to film the dampening of these three shirts. That is a weird way of phrasing that, but for this part of the process, I made sure the shirts were damp. This makes it easier to fold. The only one I didn't get damp was the sweatshirt, because for that particular fabric, it is better to keep it dry. Then for this long sleeve t-shirt, I used the very technical, very thought out scrunching technique. And right before I began to pizza it, Wesley made sure to walk by and deposit a little bit more cat fur onto this black shirt. For this navy shirt, I did a classic accordion fold, but instead of doing it horizontal or vertical, I did it at an angle to make it a little snazzier. Like I said before, the shirts were damp, but now getting to the sweatshirt being dry, it made it a little bit more difficult to manage getting a proper swirl, but I took my time really working out each fold before I began to pizza it with rubber bands. And now that each one of these items were folded and rubber band up, I was ready for the bleaching process. For the bleaching process, I got a bucket, some bleach, a cup of water, and of course the clothes. Taking the bleach, I poured a little splashy splash into the bucket and then poured the cup of water in. Taking my first item, I dunked it straight down into the bleach and let it drip out a little bit before switching to the other side. Now, you should probably wear gloves when working with bleach, but I personally hate wearing gloves, so I just held each piece by the rubber bands to make sure I wasn't touching the bleach. After the first initial dunk, I could tell that there were places where the bleach didn't hit, so using a spongy paintbrush, I painted bleach onto those areas. And once done, I put all of these in the sun and let them sit for about 4 hours, 2 hours on each side. Now comes the super fun part of seeing whether my folds worked or didn't work, and for some reason the rubber bands on the sweatshirt decided to just disintegrate, so I opened that one first. I definitely have my opinions about how each one of these items turned out initially, but we'll get to that later. The best part about reverse tie-dyeing is if you don't like the initial design, you can go in and fix it or help it along. I used a paintbrush and some bleach, and wherever I wanted to add a little bit more lightness, I could do so with the paintbrush. I then stuck some of these items back out in the sun for an hour. I threw all these items in the wash to get rid of the bleach, because if you don't wash them, the bleach will defeat the purpose of the dyeing process. Speaking of, a lot of this RIT dye I already had, except for this random turquoise that I picked up at the store. Of course, I had to point at it to show you it was different. When it comes to mixing dye, I like to use a cap filled with dye and mix that in with a half a cup of water. I don't know if this is actually correct, but it's always worked for me. That looks like pee from a very dehydrated person. Anyway, the reason I have my dye in glasses is because I like to paint my dye on. I find that I have more control of how the final outcome of the item of clothing is going to turn out. I like how I was just talking about having control with your dye, but with this first piece, I just started to go to town spraying the turquoise color all over it. I was going for a Galaxy-esque look to this shirt, so I first just wanted to get down as much of the turquoise color as possible. I then went in with the denim blue color of the RIT dye to buff that turquoise color out and add a more contrasting blue, and this first item was done and ready to dry. This navy shirt was by far my favorite after the bleaching process. I loved the way it looked, and I didn't want to do much to it to change it. Taking the tan RIT dye, I painted that into the lightest colors to just make it more muted. I was getting beach vibes from this shirt, with the blue being the ocean and the white part now turning to tan to be sand, and then the pink in the shirt being a sunset. Following my favorite shirt with my least favorite shirt. This red and black combo was just, it's not me. I don't like that kind of reddy orange color, so I started to dump a bunch of blue dye over the red sections in hopes that it would turn to a purpley pink section and turn it into a sunset shirt. At least that's what I was telling myself. I really tried with this shirt. It turned out okay, but you guys can be the judge of that. Getting to the fourth piece, this sweatshirt, I ran out of the turquoise dye right before I got to it, so I went out and got this kit. I'm not sure if tie-dyeing is really popular right now, or just dyeing clothes in general is really popular right now, but every time I go out, all of the RIT dye is sold out, and a bunch of the other dyes are sold out, so the only option I had was to get this kit. I started out by picking the colors that I started with, and I thought these were going to be the only colors I was going to use, but I was sadly mistaken. This sweatshirt turned into a dye-eating machine, which sounds scarier than it actually is, but man, this thing soaked up so much dye. I started out with the light blue at the center of the spiral, and very quickly I realized how fast this dye was being soaked up, and all of a sudden I was out of my first bottle. My original idea was to do a blue gradient look to the bleached areas of this sweatshirt. But with my first bottle going so quickly, I realized very fast that I was going to have to use a lot more colors from this kit. By the end of this process, the only colors I didn't use were black, orange, and red. And this sweatshirt was completely soaked. And with this being the fourth and final piece that I dyed, I let this piece and the rest of the items sit for 24 hours before I rinsed them out. After rinsing out each item really well, I threw them in the washer, and now it's time for the big reveal. Starting off, let's just get this over with. I definitely still don't like this piece, but I actually do have an idea for this shirt that I am going to be doing a quick little bonus video in a few days of what I do with the shirt to turn it into something I will use. This girl, on the other hand, is ready for the beach. She is moving, she is grooving. I knew from the start that I loved the way this shirt was going to turn out, and this makes me want to try bleaching a few other colored shirts. For this shirt, I was going for Galaxy, and I think I achieved it. I like the colors, but the only thing I didn't like was the fit of this shirt. It was a little too long and baggy, so I quickly made it more Miley-ified and cut a slit right up the center. This makes it so you can tie it and create a cute little bow at the center front, and also make it more fitted. This girl, she's the cool girl. She's at the skate park. She's ready for the club. She's pointing at all her friends. She's also pointing at her sleeve to show you her cool ombre arm. She's now putting her hood on because she's taking it to the streets. My modeling has been truly something special. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, guys, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. A quadruple thumbs up at that. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button so that you don't miss a video and this beautiful content I create, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!